Greetings, my fellow freedom low sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to LL3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangrove of South Florida. And today's date is Sunday, January 17th, 2021. Yeah, sorry if I didn't do a podcast yesterday. Forgive me on that. I don't know, just did a few things, ran around a little bit, a little tired. Sometimes you gotta get a good exercise now and then to cleanse your body from toxicity, whether it's physical or spiritual, etc. But so it looks like all those nut jobs in DC, district of synonymous term rooster suckers, I would say. You can figure it out. Oh, absolutely. So very extremely indeed. Got a bunch of one of the most dumbest folks in there. Think they're smarter than the supreme law of the land. Come on. They know who they are. All those little globalist Uncle Toms and Aunt Jemimas believe they all got it made. And they can do whatever the hell they want. A lot of us still remember what happened reading the history of Rome. It's like, we all know about empires are such a dangerous thing, including member authors of the Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers addressed that as well. Yes, you can hear a bell in the background. Don't worry, it's a drawbridge. I'm not in trouble. So, it's just one of those things people gotta look at. I'll say it again and again and again. You were born with natural rights. They could never take that away from you. If they're gonna do something which is totally illegal, get some toilet paper, print out that bill, wipe your rear end on it, and send it back to them. Of course. I'm just being symbolic here. Ridicule these individuals. They're not all that tough. Like, AOC. We gotta list our people. I'll tell you one thing. She's one of those folks love to dish it out, but she hates receiving. And I'll tell you one thing. Individuals with that mindset, when they get a lot more than they can chew on, they're the ones that be screaming like a bunch of little children. Like their sandbox got contaminated. These individuals aren't that intelligent. Trying to sell you pieces of rhetorical garbage. All that stuff being highly fenced up, 7 feet gates, barbed wire. I remember those 7 feet, barricades. At that time I was in Tampa, downtown Tampa. And it wasn't really that big of a thing anyway. They had it all over downtown Tampa for the Republican National Convention a little over 8.5 years ago. I don't know if I talked about that. I may have on my show many, many years. There was a time they had all these little kids, young kids, think they're angry at the world. They hang out in a little corner with their little signs. Come join us. We're going to protest. I looked them right that girl in the eye. I go, this is not a protest, but a movie shoot. She didn't know what to say after that. And I've seen that little march they had with the camera. I went, lights, camera, action. Talk about her conformity. They're truly, in that time, wearing cowbells around their necks. And I don't say this out of malice, but rather in good faith. You never try to entrap yourself. And we all had an experience one way or the other, including yours truly. It's like the whole QAnon thing. And I tell folks, observe responsibly. And, I don't really pay too much attention to it. Never did. I hear a few things here and there. Some may be good, some may be bad. But the thing is, people look for hope like one person, the crusade, is going to save us all. And it cannot be done. Everyone's got to do their part. It made some sense, too. It was Operation Trust. They did that during the Bolsheviks in the 1920s. The Soviet Union. Bolshevik Revolution. So, yeah, mind control 101. I always say, Kio Bono, who benefits? Always got to beware of the Jim Jones syndrome. Pol Pot ideology. Even with Mao, cancel culture. They're all brainwashed zombies one way or the other. That's why I never laid my eggs in one area. I always try to make my own judgments the best I can. And I have my imperfections too, don't get me wrong, I made my errors. That's okay. That's a part of being a human being is. You better yourselves. And it's very disturbing about that. Of course, good people got caught in that web as well. That's why I always believe in think and act locally. You got folks out there believe one man's going to save our country. Yeah, one man. We got to get rid of this guy. If not, we're screwed. Spare me. People with that frame of mind, you claim to be citizens, denounce yourselves and leave because you failed the test. You failed your obligations. Including residential tourists. You're going to come down to Florida and tell me how to do it in New York City? I tell you, what, turn around and leave. Because they're contaminating the cause. Mice, don't contaminate my space. You never leave. Don't bring your infections down here. You learn to adapt. Just to be frank, I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and can make that statement. But I'm not going to go bashing everyone where they're from. It's how you exhibit yourself. No one's an entitlement. Including myself. However, all you folks out there are numbers. We got the ability to enhance each other, our neighborhoods and communities, and spread it across the world. Good example, because everyone's worried about they're going to do gun confiscations and all that. Under the Biden-Harris administration. We got the 10th Amendment. I'm going to put a website on there called sanctuarycounties.com. It's very thorough in what you can do in your county and even your state, your municipality. Remember, plant a seed, not no tree. Well, I'm going to start this off here. Nice little rant. And first thing I'm going to be talking about, believe it or not, came from RT, Infowars. Looks like Infowars picked this up. Says here, 7,000 strong migrant caravan inches closer to U.S. border as Biden vows to end Trump's asylum policies. More of a Club of Rome agenda, I would say. Go figure. Joe Biden is a globalist Uncle Tom for a very long time. Based on his actions, not his party affiliate. And all you folks that voted for him, you wake up in the morning saying, God bless the Patriot Act? He did. He helped spearheaded it. Yeah, I'm mocking you guys for endorsing poorly. So that's how you got to always look at the world. Don't get caught in the trick bag. So let's just see what they have to say about this. Caravans with thousands of Central American migrants reportedly are trekking toward the Mexican border on their way to the U.S., where they expect to find friendlier policies after President-elect Joe Biden takes office next week. And there's a video on here, too, from Rupley. It says here, 7,000 to 8,000 migrants have entered Guatemala from Honduras in just the past day, Reuters reported. Citing Guatemala's immigration authority, Video footage showed thousands of people forcing their way through the police cordon as they crossed the border into Guatemala. Two migrant groups with over 5,000 people are working their way toward the U.S., including the one that has already breached the Guatemalan border. U.S. Customs Border Protection Commissioner Mark Morgan said in Fox News interview. Of course, there's videos on here as well from the Hill. It shows that too. And they actually pushing past border control across Guatemala. And it's coming, Morgan said. It already started, just as we promised and anticipated it would with his rhetoric for the new administration on the border. And there's more stuff over here on the Guatemalan border through Florida border post and failing to comply with immigration and health requirements. So technically it's an invasion, and you know, some of these folks, they don't believe in if you have to take them out. I'm not praising that, but some places they'll do that. Any questions? You should go to there's a lot of issues too that happens at the Haitian Dominican Republic border. So just to let you know. Biden, who's scheduled to be inaugurated on January 20th, said he plans to immediately introduce an immigration bill upon taking office. His immigration plan, reported by the Los Angeles Times on Friday, reportedly includes a path to citizenship for 11 million illegal aliens who are already living in the U.S. Unlike past amnesty proposals, Biden's plan wouldn't come with provisions of toughened border enforcement, according to the report. The Democrat president-elect also intends to end many of the policies that Donald Trump has put in place to deter illegal immigration, including rules that keep migrants in Mexico while they await court hearings in the U.S. Trump predicted during a border visit on Tuesday that the policy changes would lead to a tidal wave of illegal immigration, a wave like you've never seen before. He added they're coming because they think that it's the gravy train at the end. Immigration activist group Pueblo Sin Fortaras, which was organized immigrant caravans to the U.S., has funding ties to billionaire George Soros, called on the incoming Biden administration to honor its commitments. Yep. So another Club of Rome institution, you would say? Yeah. Biden's arrivals creates an opportunity for the governments of Mexico and Central America to develop migration policies that respect and promote the human rights of the population in mobility, the group added. As the caravan moves closer to its border, Mexico, for its part, is beefing up its border security, try to block the extended procession from passing through its existing agreement with the U.S. So, what can you say about that? If there's bloodshed there, so be it. How many of them are human traffickers or agents for the order? Sleeper cells, Chi-Coms. You never know. It is possible. This is what people want. Open everything up, contaminate, and the ones that come to the area that became naturalized citizens will get a slap in the face. I know people from Honduras that earned their citizenship. They don't want things handed to them. They never supported government programs too. Are they bad? No. They like work. They got good work ethics. Many of them I know. So it's not an ethno issue. It's an ethical ordeal. Like you hear my shows in the past, I don't care if they're whiter than me with the same last name. It doesn't work like that. So the biggest ordeal with the immigration for at least the past 60 years, at the least 60 years. Even the Lincoln administration did that. Instant citizenship with the Irish. When all the men, they all became instant citizens, they joined the Union Army. Yeah, that's not okay either. That's a slap in the face by the Irish. So, let's give you guys some examples. This is very distraught indeed. And we all know, including myself, that Joe Biden will never be my president. He is a New World Order butt boy, just like the caramel edition of George W. Bush, Kamala Harris, which she's invalid, period. Yeah. So if I get flagged, I don't give a shit. Excuse my language. I could care less. You get offended, so what? Because that's the truth. And I believe too. I'm expecting people to, militias maybe going out that border too, if they have to. Well, let's see how far this goes. It may not be successful. All right. Mainstream media calls for new definition of free speech. And this was shared by Blacklisted News. Yeah. Rob Owens. Yeah. Mr. Owens. Hopefully you're doing good. Hopefully you and your family are doing well. One day we have to meet. It was fun. Him and I Facebook pen pals. And we follow each other on Twitter. I'm just wondering if you got shadow banned or not, right? All right. But this source here came from the Kit Knightley Off Guardian. There has been Face Hammer Week. In fact, it has been a Face Hammer year. Part of the main duty of the Off Guardian is to troll through the masses of media output and try to pick up patterns. Sometimes the patterns are subtle. A gentle urging behind the paragraph. Sometimes they're more like a sledgehammer to the face. From the flatten the curve to the new normal to the great reset. It has not been hard to spot the messaging going on since the start of the pandemic. And that this distinct lack of disguise has carried over into other topics too. We point out a few days ago sudden overuse of the phrase domestic terrorism, preparing us for what is almost certainly going to be a truly horrendous piece of new legislation once Biden's in office. Well, the buzz phrase doing the rounds in the wake of Donald Trump being banned from the internet, the new definition of free speech and variations on that theme. Firstly, and papers on both sides of the Atlantic want to be very clear about this. Donald Trump being banned simultaneously of every major social network is not in any way inhibiting his free speech. Indeed, none of the tens of thousands of people banned from Twitter et al. Had their free speech infringed either. Neither have any other proprietors or users of the Parler app, which the tech giants bullied out existence. Free speech is totally intact no matter how many people are banned or deplatformed. The media all agree on that. Even the allegedly pro-free speech think tanks. They also argue that maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe free speech is too dangerous in our modern era and needs a new definition. This day and age, building up to tyrants patriotic, right? Think about that. So, that's what's Ian Dunn, writing in politics.co.uk, thinks anyway, arguing it's time to have a grown-up debate about free speech. All right, so someone's offended. The Financial Times agrees, asking about the limits of free speech in the internet area. Yeah, go figure. Financial Times is proudly funded by the CCP and the Rothschilds. I bet you didn't even know about that. Tom Edsall in the New York Times wonder aloud if Trump lies have made free speech a threat to democracy. Now they're going to talk to us like little kids. The conversation, sorry, folks. I should have had it on vibrator. So sorry about that. Now I'm on airplane mode. One of those things, no intent. All right, so I'll be back here. This paragraph. Tom Edsel in the New York Times wonders allow if Trump lies have made free speech a threat to democracy. Yes, I'm Thomas Edsel. I'm a journalist, and I go on my hands and knees for tyranny. That's how I get my promotion. Do you find me attractive, honey? So if the state comes in, I'll be a doormat. They can tread on you. I go, please, do whatever you do. Don't kill me. See, these are like these little bobbleheads are tell you how to live, right? The Conversation, a UK-based journal often at the cutting edge of the truly terrified ideas, had 3 different articles about redefining or limiting free speech, all published within 4 days of each other. There is free speech not guaranteed if it harms others. A drop of piece dishonest apology which argues Trump wasn't silent because he could make a speech which the media would cover without also mentioning that the idea has en masse literally refused to broadcast several of Trump's speeches in the last couple months. The conclusion could have been written by an algorithm analyzing the Guardian's Twitter feed. The suggestion Trump has been censored is simply wrong. It misleads the public into believing all free speech claims have equal merit. They do not. We must work to ensure harmful speech is regulated in order to ensure broad participation in the public discourse that is essential to our lives and to our democracy. Ooh. Then there's free speech in America and the U.S. approach fit for purpose in the age of social media. A virtual carbon copy of the first, which states, the attack on the Capitol exposed the stark terms of the dangers of disinformation in the digital age. It provides an opportunity to reflect on the extent to which certain elements of America's free speech tradition may no longer be fit for purpose. How nice. And finally, my personal favorite, why free speech needs a new definition at the age of the internet and Trump tweets, but in which author Peter Ives warned of weaponizing free speech and concludes, Trump's angry mob was not just incited by his single speech on January 6th, but had been fermenting for a long time online. The faith and reason held by Mill and Kant was premised on the printing press. The free speech should be re-examined in the context of the internet and social media. Ives clearly thinks he's enlightened and liberal and educated after he drops references to Kant and Mills. That's two famous philosophers, but he's really not. He's who let the cows out? Moo, 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 moo. Another conformist indeed, right? He's just to enlist arguing working class people are too dumb to be allowed to speak or even hear ideas that might get him all riled up and distract them from their menial labor. Yeah, I'm just another Palmolive Vespertorship. All right. To season these state ideas with a sprinkling of fear porn, NBC is reporting that the FBI didn't report their concerns over possible violence at the Capitol because they worried about free speech. See, if the FBI hadn't been protecting people's free speech, that riot may not have happened. And on the top of all that, there's an emotional manipulation angle where authors pretend to be said or expatiate or any of the emotions they used to have. In the Irish Independent, Emma Key says free speech doesn't include hate speech. Oh, really? So if I criticize him on their actions, that's called evil. She never exactly clear what part go home in peace, love was hate speech, though. In The Hill, Joe Furlow is almost in tears that the First Amendment has been ruined by the right-wing press continuously shouting fire in a crowded theater, citing the famous Oliver Wendell Holmes quote, which so many use to qualify the idea of free speech without releasing his hands over the power to destroy it completely. Up until they can show me the hard and fast legal definitions of shout fire, crowded, and theater, that's open, and the qualification is nothing but a blank canvas, free to interpret as loosely or stringently. as any lawmaker or judiciary feels is necessary. Hold on, folks. Gotta get a shot here of my Ultimate Immune Juice, orange, elderberry, and zinc. Uncle Max, by the way. They're not my sponsor, okay? So, as an example, Twitter is certainly bigger and more popular than a theater and spreading any vaccination, any war, pro-Russia, COVID denial news, delete as appropriate, is certainly going to cause more panic than one single building being on fire, isn't it? If this potential abuse of incredibly loose terminologies, which will be used to redefine free speech, offensive misinformation, hate speech, and others, will be repeated a lot. Expressions which also have no solid definition under law and are already being shown to mean nothing to the media talking heads who repeat them ad nauseum. If go home in peace and love can become inciting violence, absolutely everything can be made to mean about absolutely anything. The more they redefine words, the further we move into an Orwellian world where all meaning is entirely lost. And what would our newly defined free speech really mean in such a world? Absolutely. I like it. Hey, folks, I recommend you follow Blacklisted News if you haven't. It's good stuff, man. He always shows good content. He has his own TV, radio show. They're still on Spreaker. It's been a while. I'm about to give him a shout, see what's going on. Hey, Mike, if you hear me, hello, brother. Hope you're doing good. Oh, it's just amazing. You know what I'm saying? Just amazing. We have to change the word free speech. This day and age, having an Orwellian state is a patriotic thing to do. That's why I mock these individuals. Nothing more than a bunch of pathetic turds that got stuff handed to them. Yeah, talk about privileged people, gifted. Entitlements. Well, they're not my parents. They're not my role models either. So, well, you know what? The hell with them. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's more of us than them. And without the people, there wouldn't be anything. Even if the corporations go bankrupt, they're in Craps Creek one way or the other. All right. I'll do one more. This one here came from humansarefree.com. 13 Israelis suffered facial paralysis after taking Pfizer's experimental COVID-19 jab. At least 13 Israelis have experienced facial paralysis after being administered the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine a month after the U.S. Food and Drug Administration reported similar issues but said they weren't linked to the jab. Okay. Israel has been hailed for its speedy and efficient mass inoculation program, which has vaccinated a staggering 20% of the country's population since the drive began at the end of December. Yeah, talking about sterilization. For a handful of Israelis, however, the initiative has led to some unexpected health scares. At least 13 people have reported mild facial paralysis after receiving the Pfizer BioNTech jab. Israeli outlet Ynet reported, citing the health ministry, adding that officials believe the number of such cases could be higher. For at least 28 hours, I walked around with the facial paralysis. One person who had the side effect told Ynet, "I can't say it was completely gone afterwards, but other than I had no other plans. Expect a minor pain where the injection was, but there was nothing beyond that." Last month, FDA disclosed that Bell's palsy, a form of temporary facial paralysis, was reported by 4 participants during 3 trials of the Pfizer vaccine. All 4 cases involved individuals who had been given actual jabs. RT actually reported. They got their, like I said, RT has their good and bad, like every other website, news station, etc. Always encourage folks to observe responsibly. Am I surprised what's going on with this? No. And then people are lining up getting that shot. And even people, my Facebook pen pals, I'm just effing stunned. And I just hope and pray they won't get these negative effects. I hope and pray. Yes. I don't want to see anyone I know. I don't wish anyone ill will, including my enemies. And one of the areas is just really drives me crazy. What on earth are you folks thinking? The whole COVID-19 ordeal is a 24/7 excuse for everything, just like the horrific event 19 years ago on September 11th, 2001. You haven't learned anything. That's why I separate myself from the bizarros of the world. And they call me the crazy, the nut job, tinfoil hat at times. But I don't get angry. I get disappointed but inspired. Because later on things occur and they all freak out. It's why I always tell folks nutrition, good health, have an active body, can always fight these viruses. Remember, every infection has an Achilles heel. And I post this enough times on this matter. You can look it up yourselves. Don't be afraid. Just wondering how many people are going to be sterile or pass. That's the question. Yep, that's the vision from the Georgia Guidestones. They want 500 million people living on this planet, one way or the other. That's what comes down to it. I encourage no one to participate in this particular program or anything what Big Pharma endorses. And I hope you folks heed it, because I will. That will be it. I thank everyone for listening, plus feel free to download and share throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or if you send something interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence to the quorum. And if you want to contact me, you can hit me at lokiluck3@gmail.com or lokilucknumbers03@protonmail.com. And if you want to do a donation, you can hit me at paypal.me or cash.app/lokiluck3. And hey, support these other sites I addressed. If you can, that'd be great. Share it, donate. That'd be awesome. And people are talking about what might happen in inauguration, which I hope won't be the case. But I'll tell you one thing. Overall, it won't be organic. They'll find a scapegoat. They've been doing it for a long time. If you study history, it's been done. Even in the Bible. I don't care if you agree with it or not. Jesus was the scapegoat. So, very dangerous, very treacherous. And people have fallen for it. So, I'm going to do another song from Sons of Liberty called False Flag. If something like this happened, like what occurred at the DC siege, just think about this song. Haven't heard anything about John Schaefer yet. And I still support his cause, his principles. And that's all I'm going to say. Once again, thank you for your time. Please always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love. May your guardian spirits be with you.
Open your eyes and see. Hijacked by a group of thugs, criminals in D.C. Don't let them intimidate you. Fear is how they feed. No matter what they throw our way, we must defend liberty. Where do you think this will lead? Open your eyes and say, where do you think this will lead? They're building a killing machine.
Capitalisti, angli, amici, franzi, debuttano in un stretti.
We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded.
Our war on terror begins with Al-Qaeda, but it does not end. It will not end until every terrorist group of global reach has been found, stopped, and defeated.
I see in the near future a crisis approaching that unnerves me and causes me to tremble for my country. Corporations are enthroned, and corruption in high places will follow. The money power will prolong its reign by working on the prejudices of the people until all wealth is aggregated in the hands of a few and the republic is destroyed. Abraham Lincoln.